Okay, if you could just tell me your name and your resident Faversham or whatever, yeah?
Okay, my name's Ruth Cronk and I live in Faversham. I've lived here for about 30 years now.
Okay, tell me, Ruth, in statements, what are you doing in Faversham tonight?
Tonight I've come into the town so that I can go to see the exposition that shows the plan for the creek, basically. And so I'm interested to know what the town council have got in mind for us.
What do you expect to see? Have you been reading the newspapers? Tell me about
I've been
how
looking
you
at
come
the
to it. Hang on,
newspapers.
start that again
Okay,
because my voice is
that's
out.
right.
And in your own time.
I've been reading the newspapers. I'm a member of the Creek Trust as well, and I'm particularly interested to know if the councillors have been listening to what the people of Faversham have been asking for, or at least the people that I know.
What's your particular interest in this procedure?
I think that Faversham has so much to offer all of us, and I just think having the creek is integral to that, and having it as a working creek would just be amazing for the town to have. It's the only place in Kent where you could do something like this and keep a creek alive, have boats in. I can't see what the problem is, to be honest.
I might ask you to do that again just a moment.
Okay,
I'm hearing that
my
motorcycle a
fault.
bit. It's all right, it's just the
Okay.
motorcycle is the problem. And say that again for me.
I can't really understand what the problem is, seriously, about keeping the creek open for business, really, because if you go anywhere in Europe, and I like to travel quite a lot, I go to Holland quite a lot, you know, you have lots of little lifting bridges, and there doesn't seem to be a problem with that. I'm not sure why we don't seem to have to manage this without a huge difficulty. So I just want the creek to stay alive, to keep Faversham alive. It's an artery. We need it.
What about how do you think the debate is going, or is there a debate, or do you think you're being kept in the dark, or things like that?
I think there's a debate, but I think it's very woolly. I think there are people that are quite afraid. I'm not sure whether we have people who are bold enough to take the decisions that need to be taken. And so I'm concerned really that they may be too much influenced by other economic pressures that are put on them.
Are you aware of Standard Key?
I'm aware of Standard
Could
Key.
you tell me what your thoughts are? Obviously, there have been lots of kind of debates going on about that. Tell me a little bit about Standard Key from your perspective. Let that go past, and in your own time.
Okay. Standard Key is an interesting prospect, really, because I've seen it through being able to wander down there and sit down there and play a bit of music while it was a working creek side where there were people working and you could chat to people. It's obviously of its time, and things are we have different owners, different people with different visions of the creek, and I don't know that the vision of the creek for some people is the one that's good for the town. So it worries me that it's not the ideas that are being floated about by some people won't maintain the creek as lots of us would like to see it.
Yeah. Let this go past. Tell me, it's Ruth, isn't it?
Yes,
Ruth.
yeah.
Tell me, what? Let me just get a focus on you again, because you've just moved in slightly closer
right.
than I imagined. And let me go on that again. And tell me, what's your visions of the creek? Tell me what your visions are.
Oh, it's difficult, isn't it, now? Because we've been so busy trying to sort of focus on trying to save areas of it. I'd love to see it as a creek where visiting boats could come in, all sorts of sizes of boats could come in, they could tie up. There could be use of facilities for them to be repaired, that there could be action. I don't see it as a place where people would want to live within the...
Pick that up again.
Sorry.
About from working there.
Yeah.
You see, so.
I'd like to see it more as a working and a visiting place, somewhere to go and see what's going on, see the action down there. I think that seeing it somewhere to live would be the wrong flavour for the creek. It's as soon as you get people living somewhere, then they want to have quiet. They want to look at things. They don't want to be part of a working environment. And I think it would be very difficult to try and amalgamate the two.
Yeah, we've got a kind of application going in for Standard Key for a restaurant. Are you aware of that? What's happening there?
Yes,
Can you tell me? I mean, what are your feelings about an application or a restaurant down there? Really?
I think it's interesting. I'm not sure on various ways because various people have opened restaurants on the creek, and I think that it's. I think the result is that you see them changing hands quite quickly. Faversham's a working town, and we want to keep it as a working town. I can't see some sort of fancy restaurant surviving on the creek, and I'm not sure that I would want to lose the facilities. You know, having a pub, we've got a pub down there. You can buy meals down there. I'm not sure we've got a cafe that exists. I'm not sure that having a restaurant in the town down there is the right place to put it. We don't have to have everything in one place.
My name's Brian Head, and I've come to see the exhibition to see what the plans are for the future of the creek. Personally, I'd like to see more river traffic and a bit river focused, but I don't know what I'm going to find when I go inside. I'm not too keen on having any more housing, but I know the creek is, well, you know, perhaps we're trying to push it uphill if it's not going to find a use, but we'll wait and see. I'll go and see the exhibition, see what we can find.
What has motivated you to come here this evening, though, Brian?
Well, we care about the town, and we've lived here for 30 years, and we'd like to see it continue in its quiet backwater way.
Yeah.
And we don't want it to be a holiday village for people who live in London and work in London.
Yeah. I mean, the newspapers, obviously, and I'm sure you've read them, have got lots of differing views. I mean, how do you feel about some of those articles that you've read?
Well, I must admit I've not been fully versed with the articles in the paper, so that's why I've come this evening to see what's proposed.
Okay, and your wife? I mean,
I'm Marjorie Head.
Marjorie, yes, and your feelings, Marjorie?
I feel the same, really. I think we've got enough housing down there, and I would like to see more river traffic. When we first came to the town, we still had big silos there and river, you know, people coming and delivering things and so on by boat, and it was quite delightful. But I just am a bit concerned about what's going to happen in the town down there.
And your vision yourself?
I'd like to see it as it is. I mean, I'd like to see a bit more in the river and more boat yards and things like that, the river used more. I don't want any more housing there.
Do you think we need any more restaurants in this town, or?
I don't know. I think the restaurants are pretty good here. I don't know that anything would be gained by putting one down at the creek, because we've got the pub nearby, haven't we? If we want to go there. No, I don't think. I think we're pretty well off for restaurants, really.
Thank you very much indeed.
Okay.
My name's Brian Head, and I've just been around the exhibition, and it's very well presented, but there's so many alternatives and so much to take in one go. I can't work it all out. I've got the questionnaire to fill in at home, and I shall read it very carefully and fill it in. And yeah, it's nicely presented, lots of alternatives, you know, and it's moving in the right direction, I think. Someone's taking in an interest at last. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you. James, you say?
I am.
Okay. James, the battery's on it, okay. Tell me a little bit about why you're here, James, you know.
I'm here because I'm a resident of Abbey Road, and the creek is of great interest to me. My family and I have lived here for a number of years, and we would like to see it developed, but that depends on who's doing the development and what the development is going to look like.
What do you think it should look like?
It's a very good question. I work in the development industry when it comes to building. There's no reason why it shouldn't look like this. It depends on the way that it integrates the community and gets what the community want for the area as well.
And how can that be achieved?
Consultation, proper consultation, similar to this. But more canvassing, speaking to more local people and more local businesses as well. I don't feel it should be developed purely and simply as a residential area. I think it should encompass some of the history of Faversham.
And you don't think that's happening at the moment?
I'm not overly convinced.
Okay, and what about Standard Key. Do you know? What do you tell me about Standard Key? I'm not in this film, so make it a statement.
Okay.
Start with Standard Key or the word.
Okay, well, Standard Key, I believe, could be a wonderful place. My problem with Standard Key as it is now is the developer, Michael White. I don't think he's a very good developer. He's struggled to deal with water ingress problems at my property for the last 6 years. And the last repairs that he did at my property were condemned by the insurance company because he used unqualified, unskilled tradesmen to do the work. So I have no confidence in him or Standard Key as a developer.
What about the debate that's going on in Faversham? Do you think there is an open debate?
No, I don't think it's a qualified open debate. I think people should have been consulted much earlier, in greater detail, and the actual concept should have been open for a greater period of time.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you very much.